Mr. May was just sharing a group that he's really involved with, Lewy Body roller coaster.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Jim, Loree, her dad had Lewy Body, and Loree runs a support group for caregivers of Lewy Body. And so that's another reason I thought y'all could connect.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So my brain doesn't process as fast as it did. So Loree, your father had Lewy Body?
He sure did. He sure did.
Okay. Well, bless you. Thank you for watching over him. He passed?
He did. He passed in he passed in 2018,
Okay.
January 7th, to be exact, of 2018. Yes.
When was he diagnosed?
It was about 7 years before that. I would tell you, we noticed things several years before that. But he was not officially diagnosed until about 7 years before he passed away. But how long has it been since you were diagnosed?
I think 2016, but things had started going haywire probably in 14.
Mm-hmm.
And wife, my diligent wife, was researching. She said, I think this is what you have, Jim. And we looked, Lewy Body, and it had a checklist from, I don't know where,
Mm-hmm.
Mayo Clinic or somewhere. And we went down, and I probably had 85 to 90% of the symptoms. So I had just had a stroke not long, and so I went to the Mayo Clinic. I was a federal government
Right.
guy, so they paid for all of it. And it was inconclusive with the Mayo Clinic, but they said I had they didn't do a marker thing, whatever that is. It's some kind of new thing, but they said I have Lewy Body traits.
Mm-hmm.
They did an in-depth sleep study, and they said they saw everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had drastic REM.
Uh-huh.
And that was I had it really bad.
Had you had it for a long time? Had you had that for a long time? No.
Nope. No, it started that year. And I know that it can start decades before.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, and Jim, I remember we spoke, or we didn't speak, but I saw you speak at one of the other conferences.
Oh boy.
And you led a fascinating life when in your work life prior to this. You had an exciting job, to say the least, as I understand.
Yeah, I spoke way too much about myself, I think.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I spent 43 years in the government, 23 which was active duty, and the rest of it was in another type of government, another portion of the government.
Uh-huh.
I traveled worldwide, spent a lot of time in Afghanistan and Baghdad and places in Africa. I don't miss traveling. I missed a lot of, my children growing up and stuff, because when I was active duty, I was in special ops then too.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I retired, I went into a different kind. And
stuff you can't talk about.
yeah, you just don't want to go there. It's And there's lots of people that do that. There's thousands of people, in
Mhm.
our nation that are out
Mhm.
there every day and night in
Mhm.
really, really bad places, trying to make sure we're not a victim again.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, so 2016, I went on immediate retirement, which I had enough seniority and all the points and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And I told my boss that that's what I was going to do, thinking I
Mhm.
was, I would move out of the way and they'd be able to put a functional person in there. So I
Mhm.
thought I was doing this great thing for the nation. They didn't hire somebody for 2 years, and it just ticks me off because my buddy was the one left having to deal with everything.
Oh
Well,
my. Yeah.
I guess some other folks had to help, but
Mhm.
it's a slow process. The government's, it can be terrific in many, many things, and it can be a
Mhm.
snail and a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine. Only imagine. Well,
Uh,
did your symptoms come on quickly that you had to stop immediately, or did you, in doing your job, know that things didn't seem right?
I just, not gradually, it was almost suddenly that I didn't know how to do my job.
Mhm.
That was scary because it was a national level,
Mhm.
people's lives in danger type of stuff.
Right. Right.
And I had been doing this for decades and decades.
Mhm.
And when I'm trying to figure out how I put all this other stuff together and I couldn't figure it
Mhm.
out, I went and told my boss, and I told him, Mike, I would take me off of this,
Mhm.
which was my primary mission.
Mhm.
And he put me on something else, which I really truly enjoyed. And after a while, I was yelling at other agencies and just, I have no idea where stuff was coming from. So I said, I can't do this anymore either. So I told the boss I'm retiring. And he says, Jim, I don't see anything. You could stay. And I could have. I
Yeah.
could have stayed and sharpened pencils for,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I didn't have a whole long further to go, but that's not me.
Mhm.
I'm not one of those guys who will just hang out because the nation and the job in my organization is too important to have someday there, dead weight. So my psychiatrist thinks that I was able to pick up on this disease because of the intricacy
Mhm.
of my job of noting little tiny things, that there's
Right.
something wrong,
Mhm.
because I said, hey, I'd like to get involved in these studies. And she said, there's just no way they're going to take you. You're too,
Alert.
you're too alert. You speak too well, blah, 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 which
Right.
has changed a bit, but I'm very fortunate, Loree. I'm sorry I have to look,
That's
and
okay.
I'm very blessed that I'm how I am now. And Loree, I'm a Christian. Christ is my Lord, and I actually thank him for this because there's a reason for everything. And a lot of people will look at me. I don't tell everybody this, and probably look at me like you're crazy. This is a terminal. You have a terminal sentence, guy. Well, everybody's
Mhm.
got terminal. It just
Ah,
depends how you could step out of a bus or blah blah blah. But
right.
I've still got until my time's up, I've got time to help others, you know?
And you're doing it right now.
One of my big things, which I have we as Lewy body people have a real hard problem of people wanting to talk to us. Once they hear Lewy body, dementia, or mental illness, or schizophrenia or bipolar, you're out of there. Nobody wants to, because I'm also mild bipolar and I've got PTSD, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of wonderful things going on. But I've done very well. But anyway, talking just for the Lewy body people, we all agree that we want to keep it dementia. We don't want it to be Lewy body disease, because that's, why are we hiding behind that?
Right.
Dementia is dementia.
Right.
The old adage, maybe military, you can wrap a ribbon around an item, but it's still that item.
Yes.
But people are afraid to talk to us. Or the other thing for Lewy is they think that you're faking it, or that you're lying.
Uh-huh.
Because well, you look fine. You
talk.
talk fine.
Right.
And then people just shy away from you, thinking either you're a creepy guy or you're wanting attention, or I don't, and it really hurts us.
But I do think that is a big difference with Lewy body compared to like Alzheimer's, because if my dad didn't have Lewy body and we did the same thing, we would say, sometimes we would go, oh yes, he's definitely got it, and then weeks would go by and we were like, does he really have it? And that's not like Alzheimer's. Lewy body is yes, still dementia, but very different in that way.
I wouldn't think when I forgot what we call it, show timing. I am asking myself, do I really have something wrong? And then I asked my wife, I do have issues, don't I? And she goes, oh yeah.
Oh yes.
But I'm actually seeing more and more progress. My muscles are starting to change.
Atrophy.
I used to be very, very fit, very fit, and now I sit a lot more, so maybe that's part of it. But I fall a lot because my Parkinson's part of this is fairly heavy. I have the hand quivers. Mayo called it memory, or if you're holding something, then you've got it tremors. But if you don't have something in your hand, you're usually fine. I think they told me it was memory something or other.
So tremoring without having something in your hand is a real tremor, as opposed to a muscle something twitch like thing. Is that what you mean?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to a neurologist or a movement neurologist. But if I'm wanting to eat soup, like last night I was at the dinner, well, it's like this, and hoping I can get it down my throat, and I put a nap now down, because just like a baby. But I can also be sitting here and my hand's fairly stable.
Right.
Go to the shooting range, it's a circus act when I've got my aim point.
Oh.
The red dot all over the place. But then I'll get on target, and I'll
Yeah.
do okay. But
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
That is funny. And you're not very old.
I am 83.
I started saying, seriously?
No, I'm 64.
Okay. I started to say, I don't believe that. Well, 64 is young. 64 is young.
Yeah, we've had people on the Lewy Body Dementia Association Zoom that were in their late 30s that had this.
Wow.
So
Mm.
it's not an old person's disease.
No.
On my other site, we have people, you know, in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So a buddy of mine sent me an article many years ago that I'm sure you're aware of head trauma.
Yes.
Of course you are, but
Yes.
we call it something different in the military. I can't remember. Huh?
I know what you're talking about, though.
Even mild
Contusions or something.
can bring on later dementia.
Right.
He was a special forces guy, so he'd taken a lot of tumbles. So he sent this to me because my close friends and people that I serve with and everything, they pretty much know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a lot of people that just kind of walked away, which a lot of people do, you know.
Yeah. Terrible.
And that's fine. You know, if they're not a close friend, they just kind of write you off, then you know who's got your six.
Well, does it help you to talk with other people in those groups that have Lewy body?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because we all have the same thing.